Hi, preschool friends. So, this week we are going to continue to talk about insects, but now we're going to ask the question who works with insects? Can you think of anybody whose job it would be to work with insects? I had trouble with this one too, so I was able to go on my computer and do some research. And research is when you look around and you look through books and you look on the computer and you try to find the answer to your question. So I had the question, who works with insects? So I was able to find some examples of people whose job it is to work with insects. The first one I found is an entomologist. And an entomologist is a person who studies insects. So they're kind of like a scientist. You can see the insects in the jars, and he's using a magnifying glass to look at them. So they study everything about them. Kind of like we've been this past few weeks. We've been entomologists learning all about insects. Another one is a beekeeper. A beekeeper is a person who cares for bees. So they keep the bees in these boxes, and the bees are free to fly in and out. And the beekeeper takes care of them and takes out the honeycomb from the beehives and gets the honey. And then the beekeeper might sell the honey. So they take care of them, but they also harvest the honey. This one I have never heard of before. It's called a meletologist. I had trouble saying that word for a really long time. Meletologist. A meletologist is a scientist who studies bees. So while a beekeeper is a person who takes care of bees and maybe even harvests their honey, a meletologist is a scientist who studies bees to find out more about them. They're the ones who have discovered the different parts of their body, and they're the ones that have discovered that the worker bees are girls, and they're the ones that have discovered that they use a proboscis and how they make their honeycombs. Those are meletologists. Another one that I had never heard of before is called a miramicologist, and they're a scientist who studies ants. So they kind of do the same thing. They focus only on ants. So they're the ones that tell us all the information that we know about ants. A gardener works with insects because you're going to find a lot of insects in your garden. You'll find insects that maybe destroy your plants, and you need to find a way to get rid of them or how to prevent them from eating your plants. And then other insects will help your garden because they might eat the insects that are hurting your plants, or they might help the plants grow like a bee. Another one is a photographer. A photographer is a person who takes pictures, but it makes sense that a photographer would also work with insects because we have lots of pictures of insects. We have butterflies and ants and bees, and we got all those pictures, or some of them at least, from photographers. So that is a person who could work with insects. And finally, we have what is called an exterminator, and that's a person who gets rid of harmful insects. So they come into your house. See if you have termites in your house. Remember, we talked about termites and how they can eat the wood that makes up your house. So, an exterminator would come and get rid of them for you. They would also help to get rid of, like, if you had a bunch of ants in your house, or maybe if you had wasps around your house, they would help you to get rid of those. Because some insects are harmful and dangerous, and an exterminator helps to get rid of them. So, those are a few of the jobs that I was able to find by doing a little research. Now, I want you to see if you can find any other jobs. You can ask your family to find out if they know of any jobs where people work with insects, or you can see if someone from your family can help you do your own research. Let me know if you find out any jobs that we haven't already talked about when you look up with insects. Tomorrow we're going to learn more about one of these professions. See you next time.